Season 5, Episode 1. If Nova is her sister, then Ayla has never known who she truly was. The hospital hallway felt colder than usual, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Ayla walked slowly, a thin folder pressed tight against her chest. Nova's handwriting covered the first page dates, codes, medical files, none of which matched the life Ayla believed was hers. Her footsteps echoed softly as she reached the end of the corridor. A wide glass panel reflected her image back at her. She stared at it, searching for something familiar, anything that proved she was still the woman she'd always known. But the eyes staring back looked lost, as if the memories behind them didn't belong. Nova appeared behind her, moving quietly, as if afraid any sound might shatter Ayla completely. Ayla, Nova's voice trembled. I never wanted you to find out like this, but the truth was never going to stay buried. Ayla turned, her pulse sharp and fast. You're telling me my entire childhood was a lie, she whispered. That you're my sister, and I didn't even know you existed. Nova swallowed hard. They hid us from each other. They hid everything. You were taken because of what you could become, not because of who you were. Ayla felt the floor shift beneath her. Years of pain, years of unanswered questions, suddenly rearranging themselves into a story she had never chosen. Then who am I? Ayla murmured, voice cracking. Nova hesitated too long, and the silence became the answer Ayla feared most. Far down the hallway, an alarm suddenly blared sharp, urgent. Red lights flashed. A coded message echoed through the speakers. Nova's eyes widened in panic. They found us, she whispered. Ayla, they're coming for you. Ayla didn't move, because for the first time in her life, running wasn't the question. Identity was. Season 5, Episode 2. The truth is no longer a mystery. It's a threat. The alarm kept pulsing through the hallways, but Ayla barely heard it. Her mind was stuck on a single question that felt heavier than her own heartbeat. If everything about her past was constructed, then what part of her was real? Nova grabbed her wrist. Ayla, we have to move. Now. But Ayla didn't budge. I'm done running from ghosts. Who's coming for us? Nova hesitated, her jaw tightening, the look of someone who has carried a truth too heavy for too long. The same people who raised you, she said quietly. The ones who made you believe you were alone. A cold shiver climbed Ayla's spine. My unit, she whispered. The commanders, Adrian. No, Nova cut in sharply. Adrian wasn't part of it, but others were. People who wanted you shaped, controlled, and used before you could ever know your real bloodline. Suddenly, distant footsteps thundered from the stairwell, heavily armed, unmistakably trained. Nova's grip tightened. They're not here to capture you, she said. They're here to erase everything you've learned. Ayla felt a surge of anger break through the fear. For years, I begged them for answers, she said. They left me in the dark because they needed a weapon, not a sister. Nova stepped closer, forehead nearly touching Ayla's. You were never a weapon. You were a secret, one they're terrified of losing. The footsteps grew closer fast. Nova pulled a key card from her pocket and thrust it into Ayla's hand. Sublevel 6, the restricted wing. That's where the rest of your real history is. Files, recordings, the truth they never wanted you to see. Ayla stared at the card, her pulse pounding like a war drum. Are you coming with me? Nova paused, her silence sharp enough to cut. I can't. They'll expect me to run with you. I need to slow them down. Ayla's eyes widened. Nova, they'll kill you. Nova smiled sadly. They won't if they think I'm still one of them. Shadows moved at the end of the corridor, dark silhouettes approaching fast. Nova stepped back, whispering urgently, Go. Find out who you really are. And Ayla, whatever you discover down there, don't let it define you. Ayla turned toward the elevator, keycard trembling in her grasp. The doors slid open with a metallic hiss. As she stepped inside, one truth finally settled in her chest like fire. To survive what's coming, she must learn the story she was never meant to live. The elevator doors closed. The descent began. Season 5, Episode 3. The deepest secrets are always buried in the coldest places. The elevator rattled as it sank toward sublevel 6, each floor passing like a countdown. Ayla couldn't stop. Her reflection trembled in the dull metal walls, eyes sharp, jaw tight, breath shallow. She wasn't scared of what waited below. She was scared of what she might recognize. The doors slid open with a low, mechanical groan. A blast of cold air drifted out. Sublevel 6 was nothing like the rest of the hospital. No voices, no lights, only the flicker of old emergency lamps, and silence so thick it felt alive. Ayla stepped out cautiously. The keycard buzzed in her hand, almost humming, as if it belonged here more than she did. A line of reinforced doors stretched across the corridor, each marked with black numbers and a single word, archive. Her heartbeat synced with her footsteps as she approached the first door. She pressed the keycard to the scanner. A beep, a click, the lock disengaged. Inside, a row of metal cabinets gleamed faintly. Ayla opened the first drawer and froze. A file sat on top, her name, but not the name she grew up with. Ayla Ward, Project Eclipse, primary subject. Ward, her real surname, not Morgan, not the one she'd spent her entire life believing. Her throat tightened. She flipped the file open. Photos of her as a child, photos she'd never seen. medical charts tracking neurological responses, behavioral notes written by people she didn't know, a sequence of images showing two little girls standing side by side. Ayla stared at their faces. The older girl, Nova, the younger, her. Ayla's fingers trembled as she traced the edge of one photo. They looked inseparable. They looked like sisters. They looked happy. Then she noticed something else, a red stamp on the last page. Separation order classified. Ayla swallowed hard. Separated. By who? Why? Before she could turn the page, a distant bang echoed down the hallway, footsteps slamming against concrete, urgent, closing in fast. They'd found sublevel 6. Ayla stuffed the files into a metal case and shut the drawer quietly. But her pulse thundered louder than any sound she made. The intercom crackled to life. Ayla, a cold, controlled voice said, "Step out of the archive. You don't understand what you're doing." A voice she knew. A voice her instincts trusted for years. Commander Hale, her commanding officer, her mentor. The man she once believed saved her life. Ayla's jaw clenched. She backed away slowly, moving deeper into the shadows. "Ayla," Hale repeated, "you're tampering with information that was protected for a reason. You walk out now. We can fix this." She felt her anger snap like a wire. "You already fixed my whole life," she whispered. Bootsteps grew louder, Hale's team approaching. Ayla looked at the elevator, now impossible to reach. Then, at the emergency staircase, beside a rusted sign, Bioresearch Wing level below. She had two options: surrender her past, or descend even deeper into it. Ayla gripped the railing, took one breath, and ran down the stairs, straight toward the truth that might destroy her. Season 5, Episode 4. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes it drags you deeper. The staircase spiraled downward into almost perfect darkness. Only the faint hum of machinery vibrated through the concrete walls, guiding Ayla toward a floor she didn't even know existed. When she reached the bottom, a metallic sign glimmered under the emergency light. Bioresearch Wing, Restricted Access Project Eclipse. Active, FILES. Ayla froze. Active, meaning whatever Eclipse was, it hadn't ended with her childhood. The door creaked open on its own, an automatic sensor still alive after years of abandonment. Inside, the room felt colder than sublevel 6, sterile, silent, and untouched, like a graveyard sealed in glass. Rows of transparent storage cylinders lined the walls, each one holding data cores glowing with a soft blue light. Ayla approached the central console. As she touched it, the screen flickered awake. "Welcome, Subject W01. Her blood turned to ice. Ayla typed shakily, "Access personal records." The screen responded Instantly, a video file opened. A laboratory. Two children, Ayla and Nova, playing with building blocks while scientists observed from behind the glass. Their laughter filled the speakers, bright and innocent. Then a voice, calm, clinical. Observation. Subject W01 demonstrates exceptional adaptive memory and emotional resilience. Subject W02 displays heightened analytical capability. Together, the pair show unprecedented cognitive synchrony. Ayla didn't breathe. They weren't just sisters. They were subjects. Paired, measured, designed. The next clip showed them older Ayla around 10, Nova around 13, standing together in front of a table. A stern woman in a lab coat approached. "We are beginning the separation protocol." Nova grabbed Ayla's hand instantly. "No, she's my sister. You were never meant to stay together," the woman replied coldly. "You each serve a different purpose." The footage cut off. Ayla pressed her trembling fingers to her mouth. Tears blurred the screen, but she forced herself to stand straighter. Everything she'd suspected, everything she feared, it was all true. Behind her, a sudden noise, a metallic clang. Ayla spun around. Commander Hale stood in the doorway, shadows slicing across his face. His team remained behind him, weapons lowered but ready. "Ayla," Hale said softly, almost regretfully, "you shouldn't have come here." Ayla stepped back, anger burning through her chest. "You stole my life from me." Hale sighed. "We protected you. There's a difference." "Protected me from what?" she demanded. Hale glanced at the glowing data cores. "From what you were created to become." The silence that followed was suffocating. Ayla's heart hammered. "Tell me," she whispered, "right now, what am I?" Hale took one slow step toward her, his expression no longer that of a commander, but of someone who feared her answer more than she did. "You," he said quietly, "are the part of Project Eclipse they failed to control." He lifted his hand, and the room's lights snapped off. Season 5, Episode 5, Darkness, reveals the truth faster than light ever could. The moment the lights cut out, Ayla felt the room exhale, a heavy, suffocating breath that swallowed every sound. Only the soft hum of the data cores remained, glowing faintly like distant stars in a pitch-black sky. Ayla, Hale's voice echoed through the dark, calm but too steady, too rehearsed. "Don't move. The room is rigged with sensors. Any sudden shift, and you trigger a lockdown none of us can reverse." Ayla clenched her fists. She didn't trust him, not anymore. "Why turn off the lights?" Her voice cut through the dark, sharp and steady. "To scare me, or to hide something." Hale didn't answer immediately, dangerous in itself. "The power wasn't cut," he finally said. "The system recognized your presence. It reverted to its original protocol." Ayla felt a coldness crawl up her spine. Protocol for what? For you. A faint click sounded metal sliding across concrete. Ayla shifted her stance, ready for anything, but Hale kept talking. You were the variable, Ayla, the one they couldn't predict, the one whose emotional wiring didn't match the design. They feared that if you stayed with Nova, your bond would amplify abilities they couldn't measure. Ayla stepped deeper into the room, ignoring the darkness, ignoring Hale's warning. I'm done listening to riddles. Tell me what Eclipse really is. A low exhale came from the shadows. Eclipse isn't a weapon, Hale said quietly. It's an experiment in identity engineering. They weren't trying to build soldiers. They were trying to build people who could survive any truth, even if that truth wasn't theirs. Ayla's breath hitched, rage rising like wildfire. You mean you manufactured who I am? No, Hale said. We shaped what you remembered. There's a difference. Not to me, she snapped. A scrape of boots. Hale stepped closer, too close. When we separated you from Nova, Ayla, you weren't just losing a sister. You were losing the one person who could break the system. Together, you were unpredictable, dangerous. Another sound, this time behind Ayla. Not Hale, not his team, someone else. Ayla spun toward the glow of the data cores, heart pounding. A figure stepped into the faint blue light. A silhouette she knew instantly because she felt it before she saw it. Nova, her clothes torn, her face pale, but her eyes fierce. Ayla, she whispered, voice trembling with something between fear and relief. Don't listen to him. You weren't the part they failed to control. She stepped closer, breath unsteady. You were the part they could never replace. Ayla felt her chest tighten. Nova looked straight into her eyes. You weren't the threat, Ayla. I was. Hale's voice hardened instantly. Nova, don't. But Nova ignored him completely. Everything she'd held back, everything she'd protected Ayla from, it was written across her face now. Ayla, there's something you don't know about what happened the day they separated us. She took a shaky breath. You didn't forget me because they erased your memories. A beat of silence. A heartbeat, a lifetime. Nova's voice broke. You forgot me because you chose to. Season 5, Episode 6, some wounds aren't erased, they're buried by choice. Ayla's breath caught. For a moment, the silence in the bioresearch wing felt thick enough to choke her. The only light, those cold blue data cores, drew stark shadows across Nova's face, revealing pain Ayla had never noticed before, or never wanted to see. I chose to forget you, Ayla whispered, almost unable to form the words. Nova nodded slowly. Her eyes glistened, but she didn't look away. Hale stepped forward, voice stern. Nova, that's enough. No. Nova's tone sliced the dark like a blade. You've controlled the truth long enough. She deserves to know. Ayla's pulse raced, her mind racing even faster. She shook her head. That's impossible, she said quietly. I would never choose to forget you. Nova swallowed, her voice softening into grief. You did because you thought it would save me. Ayla felt the world tilt. Save you from what? Nova exhaled shakily, and for the first time her confidence cracked. From them, she said. From the people who wanted one sister obedient and the other gone. Another heavy silence. Hale's jaw tightened. She's twisting the narrative. I'm telling the truth, Nova snapped. And you know it. Ayla took one step closer, her voice breaking. Nova, please, tell me everything. Nova hesitated, just long enough to show how much it hurt her. The day they took you away, she began, I tried to stop them. I screamed, I fought God, I fought everyone in that room. They said you were the cleansed one, the compliant one, and I was the mistake. Ayla's chest tightened. But you wouldn't let them hurt me, Nova continued. You begged them to let me go. You told them you'd do anything if they spared me. Ayla's knees nearly buckled. And then, Nova whispered, you looked at me and said, if forgetting me is the only way they leave you alone, then take the memories. Ayla covered her mouth, a broken gasp escaping. Hale's voice boomed, shaking with anger. She doesn't need to relive this. We protected both of you. Nova's eyes ignited. No, you protected your project. We protected each other. Ayla looked between them, between the man who shaped her life and the sister she sacrificed everything for. Her voice trembled. So all this time, I wasn't abandoned. Nova stepped closer, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. No, you were brave. You saved me. And I spent every year since trying to find my way back to you. The room vibrated suddenly, an alarm deeper and harsher than before. Red lights flashed. The data cores buzzed at once. Hale swore under his breath. They've activated phase 0. Nova's eyes widened. They're wiping the archives. Everything about us, everything that proves what they did will be gone. Ayla's grief hardened into resolve. Not if we get to the central server first. Nova nodded, determination returning to her face. Hale raised a hand, blocking the exit. I can't let you do this. Ayla stepped forward, eyes blazing, no fear, no hesitation. You don't get to choose for me anymore. Hale looked at her, truly looked, and something in his expression shifted. A realization, a warning, a fear. Ayla, if you access the server, he said, you won't just uncover the past. You'll activate what Eclipse built inside you. Ayla didn't blink. Then let it activate. Season 5, Episode 7. Some truths don't awaken you, some remake you. The alarms blared louder, shaking dust from the ceiling as red warning lights pulsed like a racing heartbeat. The words Phase 0 initiated flashed across every screen in the room. Ayla didn't flinch. Nova didn't step back. Hale didn't move from the doorway. But something in the air changed, charged, heavy, electric. The data cores hummed, and Ayla felt a faint vibration under her skin, like her body recognized a signal she didn't consciously understand. Hale lifted a hand toward her, voice low but urgent. Ayla, please. You don't know what Eclipse encoded into your neural map. If you access that server, the activation could what? Ayla demanded. Unlock something. Break something. Make me remember the life you forced me to forget. It could destroy you, Hale said. You weren't meant to bear the full sequence. You were supposed to be half of the design. Nova stepped forward, anger blazing. Then why separate us? Why divide the sequence at all? Hale's eyes hardened. Because together, you were too powerful to control. Ayla's skin prickled. A memory, faint, blurry, flashed in her mind. Two little girls, hands pressed together. Lights flickering around them. Doctors shouting to separate them now. She inhaled sharply. Nova, did we ever? Yes, Nova said before she could finish. We shared more than memories, more than blood. The lights flickered wildly. Hale shouted into his radio for backup, his voice strained. Nova grabbed Ayla's hand, just like she did in the old footage. The moment their fingers intertwined, the data cores surged with a blinding blue flare. Ayla gasped as heat flooded through her palm, up her arm, into her chest. A burning wave of clarity. Memories she never knew she had ripped through her mind. Nova teaching her to tie shoelaces, whispering secrets under a blanket, standing together in a glass room as lights shimmered around them. Scientists whispering, their synchrony is off the charts. Her own voice crying, take my memories, just don't hurt her. Ayla staggered, but Nova held her steady. Hale froze, eyes wide, not with anger now, but fear. It's happening, he whispered. The synchrony signal is reacting. You two weren't supposed to ever reconnect physically. Ayla's breathing steadied as the memories settled. I'm not afraid of what we are, she said quietly. Nova squeezed her hand. You never were. Hale stepped back instinctively, as if the air around them had transformed into something volatile. Listen to me, he said, voice cracking for the first time. Eclipse wasn't just about identity shaping. It was about integration. Two minds, two halves of a single operational model. If you go near that server now, the system will treat your presence as a full unit activation. Nova frowned, meaning Hale swallowed hard, meaning the system will overwrite the identity you've lived with for years and restore the one they designed. Ayla's heart stopped for a second. You're saying I'll stop being me. I'm saying, Hale whispered, You'll become the version Eclipse engineered. And I don't know if Ayla, the Ayla who loves, who feels, who fights for others, will survive that transformation. The alarms suddenly shifted tone, a deeper, metallic siren. Nova's eyes widened. They've started purging the upper floors. The server will go next. Ayla turned toward the corridor leading to the core room. Every step she had taken in her life, every wound, every battle, every forgotten memory had led to this moment. Nova held her breath. Hale raised his weapon. The building trembled. Ayla looked back once, her voice steady. If they built something inside me, I want to know what it is. I won't let fear decide my life anymore. Nova reached for her. Ayla, if you go in there, I'm going with you. Ayla nodded. Together, like we were meant to be. Hale shouted, Ayla, stop. But she was already moving straight into the heart of Eclipse. Season 5, Episode 8, to open the door to the truth. They must step into the place built to erase them. The corridor leading to the central server felt endless walls lined with armored cables pulsing faintly, as if the building itself had a heartbeat. Ayla pushed forward, Nova beside her, their footsteps echoing in perfect rhythm. Behind them, Hale shouted orders. Bootsteps pounded. Security teams closed in. But Ayla didn't look back. Not this time. At the end of the corridor stood a door unlike any other in the facility. No handle, no keypad, just a smooth panel and a thin horizontal slit glowing white. Nova exhaled shakily. The biometric gate. It only opens for Eclipse subjects. Ayla stepped closer, the glow brightening as she approached. Her pulse synced to its flicker. Nova touched her arm. Once you access the core, Eclipse will scan your neural patterns. If they match the original design, she hesitated. It will overwrite everything you became after the separation. Ayla nodded slowly. I know. Nova's voice broke. Ayla, I just got you back. Ayla turned to her, a soft ache in her chest. You didn't get me back, she said. You reminded me who I was, and who I still am. The alarm blared again, closer, louder. Hale's voice rang out from down the hall. Ayla, step away from that door. You're triggering a sequence you can't control. Ayla ignored him. She lifted her hand and placed it against the glowing slit. The reaction was instant. WHOOM. A wave of white light poured out, sweeping through the hall like a silent explosion. The vibration surged under Ayla's skin again, stronger, sharper, like electricity threading through her nerves. Nova staggered, grabbing Ayla's arm. Your neural signature, it's syncing with the system. Hale's team stumbled back, shielding their faces from the blast of light. The door split open. A freezing air rushed out, carrying the scent of metal, dormant circuits, and something colder memory. Ayla stepped inside. The central core was a massive cylindrical chamber, illuminated by a vertical column of shimmering data, the heart of Eclipse. Countless holographic nodes floated in the air, each containing fragments of someone's life, hers included. The moment Ayla entered, the entire chamber awakened. Screens flickered to life, recordings reassembled, files reorganized themselves around her, forming a slow-moving constellation of her past. A synthetic voice filled the room. Subject W01 recognized. Full sequence available. Activation pending. Nova squeezed her hand. We don't have to do this. We can destroy everything instead. Ayla stared at the swirling map of memories, two timelines twisting around one another. The life she lived, and the life she was engineered for. I need to know what they made me, she whispered. I need to decide who I am with the truth, not without it. Nova's eyes glistened, pride and fear tangled together. Then I'm right here. Whatever happens, I don't leave. Ayla nodded, then reached toward the activation console. Hail burst inside the chamber. Ayla, stop. If you trigger that sequence, Eclipse will merge both identity paths. You'll lose the boundaries that keep you emotionally stable. Ayla didn't turn around. Hail, she said quietly. My whole life was built on boundaries you created. If they break, it won't be the end of me. Hale's voice cracked raw, almost pleading. It will be the end of Ayla. Ayla's hand hovered over the final switch. Nova whispered softly, whatever you choose, choose it for yourself. Not for me, not for them. Ayla took one breath, steady, fearless, then pressed the activation key. The core erupted in a blinding flash. The world dissolved into light, and Ayla felt her mind split, then collide, then fuse with something vast, buried, and powerful. She remembered everything. Season 5, Episode 9. When a mind becomes whole, the world around it fractures. The white light faded slowly, like fog pulling back from a battlefield. Ayla staggered, one hand gripping the console, breath unsteady. The chamber flickered with holographic fragments, her entire life unfolding in looping, overlapping streams. Memories that never belonged together before were now fused, synchronized, alive inside her. Her childhood before the separation, her military years, her forced identity, her true one, every face, every lie, every moment of pain, every moment of love. All of it returned at once. Nova rushed forward, catching Ayla before she collapsed. Ayla, talk to me. Can you hear me? Ayla lifted her head. Her eyes weren't the same. The softness was there, but something new gleamed beneath it. Sharper, clearer. A strange calm in the storm. I remember, her voice trembled. All of it. Nova, I remember you. Nova's breath hitched as Ayla touched her cheek gently, the way she used to as a child. The bond between them wasn't abstract anymore. It was real, rooted, whole. Hale stepped forward slowly. He looked at Ayla not with power, but with fear. What did the system restore? He asked quietly. Ayla rose to her feet, steady now, stronger than before. Not what, she said. Who? They restored who I was meant to be before you split us. And who is that? Hale whispered. Ayla glanced at the swirling data streams. They called us Project Eclipse because we were designed to do what eclipses do, merge two forces into one moment of total alignment. Nova frowned. But why us? Ayla's gaze drifted across the holograms, images of scientists, files labeled neural resonance, graphs charting emotional patterns. Eclipse wasn't meant to create soldiers, Ayla said slowly, the truth crystallizing. It was meant to create leaders, people who could sense emotional shifts, analyze danger instinctively, and stabilize conflict before it erupted. Empaths engineered with strategy, strategists engineered with empathy. Nova stared at her. That's impossible. No, Ayla whispered. That's why they split us. Together, we were too effective, too synced, too powerful for them to control. Hale's jaw tightened. You were never meant to reconnect. Separating you wasn't cruelty, it was survival. Ayla turned to him. For who? Hale struggled to answer. The core lights pulsed faster. A warning flashed. Override threshold approaching. Subject W0, 1 neural resonance unstable. Nova grabbed Ayla's shoulder. What does that mean? Ayla closed her eyes briefly, feeling the strange hum beneath her skin. It means the system restored more than memories. It awakened the neural architecture they built for me as a child. And it's adapting. Hale's face paled. Ayla, your mind wasn't designed to operate fully alone. That's why the separation nearly broke you. Ayla steadied herself. I'm not alone. She looked at Nova, her anchor, her missing half, her mirror. The chamber lights softened, reacting to their synchrony. Their proximity stabilized the resonance. Nova's voice trembled. What happens if we leave the core? Ayla stared at her hands, steady now, but with a faint vibration beneath the skin. I don't know, she admitted, but something's changing. I can feel patterns in the alarms, the guards, movements above us, even Hale's fear. Nova whispered, You're becoming what they built. Ayla looked at her. No, I'm becoming what we were meant to be. Suddenly, the entire facility shook, an explosion above them. Screams, running, gunfire. Hale grabbed his radio. They're inside the building who breached the perimeter. Ayla's vision sharpened too sharply. She saw the heat signatures through the floor, felt the shift of pressure in the air. She whispered one word. Not allies. Nova turned pale. Then who? Ayla's eyes narrowed, the final memory snapping into place. The scientists weren't the only ones watching Eclipse. Another faction had always wanted the project, wanted her. It's the group that wanted us destroyed, Ayla said. The ones who called us a threat. The lights flickered violently. Hale's face turned to horror. They're here for you, Ayla, and they will burn this entire facility to the ground to make sure Eclipse dies with you. Ayla stepped forward, her voice calm, unshaken. Then they're about to learn what a fully awakened Eclipse really is. Season 5, Episode 10. When the world finally comes for you, your choices define what survives. The facility shook again, this time so violently that dust rained from the ceiling and several data cores flickered out. The emergency lights surged to red, casting the chamber in the color of danger or destiny. Ayla stepped toward the doorway of the core room, her senses sharpening with every second. Heat signatures, voices, the metallic click of unfamiliar rifles. Nova looked at her, breath quickening. Ayla, how many? Ayla focused, letting the new clarity inside her settle. 24 on the lower floors, more coming from the east breach. Her voice was steady, too steady. They're organized, fast, and not here to negotiate. Hale swore under his breath. It's them, the Purity Division. They've wanted Eclipse erased from the beginning. Nova's fists clenched. Why? We were just kids. You were proof, Hale said. Proof that identity can be shaped, directed, engineered. They believe the human mind should remain untouched. They see you as a contamination. Ayla didn't react, not outwardly. Inside, however, something braced itself. A force, a certainty, a quiet, terrifying focus. She turned toward the corridor. We have minutes before they reach this floor. Nova stepped beside her. What's the plan? Ayla glanced at her sister, her anchor, her mirror, and a realization settled. They want to erase Eclipse, Ayla said. To do that, they need me dead. Nova shook her head fiercely. I'm not letting that happen. Ayla touched her shoulder gently. You won't, because we're not running this time. The overhead speakers hissed. Then a cold voice echoed through every corner of the facility. Subject W01. Step forward. You know why we're here. Surrender yourself, and no one else has to die. Nova flinched at the voice. Hale froze, recognizing it instantly. It's him, Hale whispered. Director Kepler, the founder of the Purity Division. Ayla breathed in deeply, then stepped into the hallway. The speaker crackled again. Your existence is an error, Ayla. A weapon disguised as a woman. Come out, and we will end what never should have begun. Ayla didn't blink. If I'm just an error, she said quietly, why are you so afraid of me? Silence. Then a slow, chilling response. Because you are the only error that can think. Nova pulled Ayla back behind cover as gunfire erupted down the corridor, bullets shredding metal, sending sparks flying. Hale shouted, "They're breaching the staircase." Ayla knelt beside Nova, her voice calm despite the chaos surrounding them. "I know what they want, but they're wrong about what Eclipse is." Nova met her gaze, fear and fire mixing in her eyes. "What are we, Ayla?" Ayla's voice softened, heavy with truth. "We're not weapons. We're not experiments. We're a bond they couldn't break." She stood, gripping Nova's hand. "And we fight together." At that moment, the power grid surged. Every light in the core chamber blazed to life, white, bright, blinding. The resonance between Ayla and Nova flared again, this time stronger, controlled, intentional. Their synchrony stabilized, aligned. Hale shielded his eyes. "What are you doing?" Ayla exhaled, feeling the vibration grow into something more, a clarity that reached far beyond the room. "I'm embracing what they tried to erase." The approaching soldiers froze mid-step. Some grabbed their helmets. Others staggered, disoriented. Nova's voice trembled. "Ayla, they're reacting to you." "No," Ayla murmured. "They're reacting to us." The resonance pulsed outward in a wave, silent, invisible, powerful, rippling through the facility like a heartbeat. The soldiers who had stormed the hallway stopped. Confusion clouded their movements. Fear flickered through their eyes. Kepler's voice crackled over the speakers. "No, stop her." SHES, activating the mirror sequence. Ayla finally understood. Eclipse wasn't just about what she remembered. It was about what she could reflect. Emotion, intent, clarity, onto anyone in her path. She wasn't designed to destroy enemies. She was designed to disrupt certainty, to break the ideology of those who believed only one truth could exist. Nova squeezed her hand, breathless. "Ayla, whatever you just did, it's working." Ayla stepped forward, the corridor falling silent ahead of her. "No," she whispered. "It's starting." As the last of the lights steadied, Ayla gazed down the hallway toward Director Kepler, who now realized too late that the girl he once called an error was becoming the one thing he feared above all. A woman who finally knew who she was.